Hello and welcome. With 1.21 officially released, I'd like to present an updated version of my Flight Duration 3 rocket crafter. The version 1 of this build was released quite early in the release cycle, part of the pre-releases for 1.21, and since then there's been a few changes to how the crafter works that makes version 1 no longer function. A few people requested an update, and here it is. So what does an automatic rocket crafter do? Well, if you supply it with gunpowder and sugarcane, it will continuously craft Flight Duration 3 rockets for you. Pretty straightforward, but pretty useful given that this is how we all get about Minecraft these days. If you want to build the auto rocket crafting, in my inventory at the moment is the blocks you need to build it. You'll need some solids and some transparent blocks, 3 barrels, 2 chests to make a double chest, a composter, 4 hoppers, 4 crafters, 7 comparators, 3 repeaters, 2 torches, and 10 redstone dust. So let's get started on the build. We'll start with a double chest. We'll run a hopper into the back of that. We're going to place a barrel here, and this is where the rockets are going to go after they're crafted, because we want to actually check to see whether we're overflowing or not. So this will stop if we have too many rockets coming into the system. I also want to put another craft over here to make the paper, and we'll just put some hoppers going into them. We need a solid block under here because we're going to activate this crafter underneath via a repeater here, which means we're going to need a solid block here and another place to support a piece of dust over here. So we're just going to finish the clock over here with a crafter over here, but the crafter is going to be on 9 signal strength because we need to run the dust a little bit further, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So we're going to have our glass block there because we're going to have our comparator here in subtract mode reading this crafter so that we can have a little bit of a clock over here with a comparator over here. And that's a pretty standard way of doing like a clocked crafter. We're doing this because we're going to put a repeater up here so that we can also hold this in the off state based off what's over here. So let me just get some glass, support another comparator, because what's going to happen is this comparator is going to watch that hopper, and if there is anything in the output block, then this dust is going to make it so that that repeater turns on and also stops this from crafting. So this won't craft if there's any items here, and it won't craft if this isn't full. Pretty straightforward. So now we've got the paper side of the auto crafting going, let's get the rocket side going. So we're going to need to set up another one of these held clocks. So this time we're going to go signal strength 8. And we're going 8 simply because the comparator for this one's just a little bit closer. So, you know, one space closer, don't need the higher signal strength. From there we're going to go into a solid block with a torch, onto another solid block, into, leave that in subtract mode, into a block, solid block, solid block, solid block. So when this repeater fires, it holds this hopper until there's enough items in here. So until that fills up, that hopper's held, can't move paper over. Then it's released, paper moves over, this will fire and trigger the comparator to make something, and round it goes. Just need to complete the clock, because when that's fired, that'll turn a full signal on, that'll turn that off, and then cause this to be going around again. So this is sort of like a little different kind of clocked comparator, crafter type setup. And it's just so that we can hold the input hopper at the same time as running the crafter. Now we're nearly done. We need to make it so that if this paper hopper's empty, everything's held as well. So we've got a signal here, so we're just going to get our supporting block, put a comparator here. I believe it's supposed to be in subtract mode. Yes, subtract mode. Go into subtract mode, and I'm just going to get my composter, put it there, and just get myself some nether wart blocks. And that can just give us a signal strength of 1. So if this is empty, this will run a signal into this, which will keep that held as well. Now the last thing we need to do is to do the overflow protection just here. Unfortunately, I probably did myself a bit of trouble. Yes, I have. Okay, so we'll just replace that with a solid block. Put a comparator in there, again in subtract mode. And I just need a supporting block here. Put a repeater on there. Not a repeater, sorry, comparator. Comparator on there with another solid block and some more dust. Now this means that if the barrel, that we'll just replace here again. Put the barrel back. If that barrel becomes too full, it will also hold this comparator in off mode, so that if we've got too many rockets, nothing will run. If we've got paper, we're not going to create more paper. If we don't have any paper, nothing will run, so on and so forth. So that should be the entire build, and we should be able to get it started. So let's see if we got it right. So the first thing we need to do is reduce this to 4 squares and get ourselves a bit of paper. And the reason we have a bit of paper in there is we really want to reserve at least one spot for paper and keep the rest for gunpowder. Now if I get myself some gunpowder and some sugarcane now, we can test the system out. We'll start by putting some, I'll just add an extra barrel up here for our input. Put our gunpowder in there. We can see that it fills up, but it doesn't craft anything yet because there's no spare paper. So we'll put some sugarcane in here. You can see that, oops, we forgot to... Okay, well let's just take our sugarcane out and fix that real quick. 1, 2, 3. Just check that we haven't put any sugar into the system anywhere. We're all good still. Sugarcane back in. And as we can see, we're crafting paper now, but it's stopped because there's some paper still in here. And we'll only create more paper if we run out of paper over here. As we can see, it's auto crafting the rockets. And there's our Flight Duration 3 rockets. So there you have it, a very quick build for a Flight Duration 3 automatic rocket crafter, now tested in 1.21. And I can just prove that by putting my F3 screen on. Hopefully this helps some of the people who commented on my previous video about what broke since the first version was made. And thank you for watching.